They say your bread isn't done until it hits 99 degrees Celsius. But what if that number doesn't mean what we think it does? Because this loaf definitely wasn't done.
Hi, I'm Sune, and I'm not just a food enthusiast, I'm a full-blown food geek. You've probably heard that your bread isn't done until it reaches 99 degrees Celsius or 210 degrees Fahrenheit. That sounds exact, but is it actually true? So I baked 4 identical sourdough loaves. Each one was baked the same way. 15 minutes covered, then uncovered, but each came out of the oven at a different internal temperature. 85, 95, 99, and 1 control loaf baked the way I normally do. Now, on paper, 99 should be perfect, but let's just say the results were not what I expected.
I wanted to find out what that number truly represents, so I baked 4 identical sourdough loaves. Same dough, same oven, same process. The only difference, when I took them out. One at 85, one at 95, one at 99, and one baked until it looked and felt right. Each loaf started covered for 15 minutes, then baked uncovered until it hit its target temperature. Everything else stayed identical. Inside the oven, everything's changing at once. Yeast is still working early on, but even after it dies, the gases inside the dough keep expanding. As the temperature climbs into the 80s and 90s, water turns into steam, and steam expands fast. That's the last push of oven spring. Meanwhile, starches are gelatinizing, gluten is setting, and the crust is drying and browning. But those reactions don't all finish at the same time. Even when the thermometer says 99, the inside of the loaf is still transforming. That's why internal temperature doesn't tell you everything. It just tells you the middle's hot enough, not that the bread is ready. All 4 loaves came from the same dough, but each one tells a very different story. The control loaf came out dark, crisp, and beautifully structured. At 99, the loaf looked good, but the crust softened as it cooled. At 95, it was paler, softer, and clearly still needed more time. And the 85-degree loaf, it looked fine outside, but inside it was almost liquid. Each step down showed less structure, less color, and more moisture trapped inside the crumb. When you line them up, you can see the pattern. With more time and higher temperature, the crumb strengthens and the crust darkens. The 99-degree loaf hit the right temperature, but the starches and crust still needed a few more minutes to finish setting. The control loaf, baked just a little longer, had full flavor, crunch, and the chew we expect from great sourdough. That's the difference between heated through and baked through.
So what does this experiment actually mean for you as a baker? Well, first, stop treating 99 degrees as the finish line. Think of it as a checkpoint. Your bread might reach that temperature long before it's truly baked. Look for signs instead. A deep, rich color, a crust that feels dry and firm, and that hollow sound when you tap the bottom. Every oven behaves a little differently, and smaller loaves might be done sooner. But if you want that chewy crumb and that shattering crust, bake longer. And please don't pull your loaf out at 85.
So the 99-degree rule isn't wrong, it's just incomplete. Your bread will hit 99 before it's truly done.
Your thermometer can tell you the center's hot, but it can't tell you when the bread has become bread. The magic, the flavor, the crust, the texture happens after that point. Bake past the number, trust your senses, and if anyone tells you bread's done at 99, send them this video. Bake boldly, my friends. See you next time.